do 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 do. What's going on, guys? It is Saturday night. It's a special show we got going on today. And I have a special guest, and I'm just going to bring him in right now. This is Jake, everybody. Jake's going to join me today for our special Mandalorian spoiler talk discussion tonight. Mando Season 2, Episode 2, we're going to be talking all of that. But I do want to touch on one thing before we get into all that, Jake. There was some news that dropped yesterday. I'm not sure that you know about it yet. But officially, Mandalorian spin-off series with Boba Fett is official, and it's going to be starting, possibly filming even early next week. So according to Jon Favreau publicly stating they hope to start filming by the end of 2020, and according to Deadline, they're talking about a possible definite, actually, Boba Fett miniseries. It's going to be starting either next week or by the end of the month, filming on that. So before we even get into this episode of Mando, I wanted to get your thoughts on that as well. So go, man. It's all you.
I mean, if it's true, which it sounds like it is, that's just another moneymaker for them. So I can't see them not doing it. I mean, they've got the actor.
Yeah.
Who everything was based off of, and that's gonna be, if Jon Favreau, and I know you're not a Dave Filoni guy, but
I'm not.
if they're doing it, then it's guaranteed to print Disney money, because right now Mando and this are their money makers.
Oh, for sure. And I'm excited for it. Isn't this like kind of what a lot of Star Wars fans have wanted for a long time, right? And when they even like first introduced the Mandalorian, the concept, like initially I think a lot of people were like, oh, it's Boba, it's got to be, but it ended up not being Boba. But dude, I'm stoked. I think it's gonna be awesome. And yeah, I'm not the biggest Dave Filoni guy, but at the same time, I can't knock the guy's Star Wars knowledge. He's incredible when it comes to that. And so, I mean, as long as, they do a good job with the story and everything and set it up great, and again, with Favreau being involved, it's got to be good, right? I'm excited, man. I think it's going to be good. So, but anyway, all right. So I got to go over a couple of little business things really quick, and then we'll get started talking Mando Season 2, Episode 2. So this is the Movie Idiot Show, and we're talking Mando Season 2, Episode 2. But before we get to that, guys, make sure you subscribe, like, share, all that fun stuff. We want to make sure we get a lot of people in on this discussion tonight, so make sure you guys do that. And then also, if you want to talk with us live, we're live on Twitch, we're live on Facebook, we're live on YouTube. You guys can comment below. Or the better way, of course, is to use the tip link, streamlabs.com/movieidiot. When you guys use the tip link and you talk with us, then we get money coming in for the channel. It helps expand the channel, and that's good for everybody, man. Again, we're trying to build a great community. So without further ado, we're going to start talking again Mando Season 2, Episode 2. And Jake, the episode starts out with Mando. He's on the speeder bike. He's heading back from the big, battle or whatnot with the sand dragon.
The crate dragon.
The crate dragon, yes, with the crate dragon. And he gets ambushed. Now, right off the bat, I'm going, who are these guys? Like, how did they know he's going to be going through there? We get no answers on that, mind you. So I feel like that's going to come up later, possibly. But your thoughts on that first initial scene with Baby Yoda, and he's holding him, and he gives him the jetpack, and he goes flying off, man. That first part, go, man. It's all you.
I mean, I think they're just scavengers. I think what they're trying to do, and again, my opinion, is they're trying to establish that he's a badass fighter. He's always pretty much in control. One thing I did like about it is the guy that was holding the knife to Baby Yoda's throat was introduced in the first Star Wars sequel, and The Force Awakens.
Oh.
That was one of the guys who actually snapped at Rey when she was cleaning the parts.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which was kind of cool.
On Jakku?
Yes. It was one of those, he had that little metal mouth, metal face guy.
Yeah.
I thought that was a cool little throwback.
Okay.
But other than that, I thought it was just a way for them to show him, once again, a little action. He was good at fighting, and he's always in control of the situation.
So I was kind of...
I forgot Mandalorian time.
Oh, dude, yes. That is awesome. Oh my God, I love it, dude. And every time you talk in that, it sounds like him too. It's great. Anyway, I was kind of wondering if that wasn't like a group that maybe Boba hired to like cut him off, like, because obviously we saw Boba at the end of episode 1, and I need to start talking chapters because people might get confused with episode 1 and so chapter 9, at the end of chapter 9.
Yeah.
I was, you see Boba, and then all of a sudden he gets ambushed. I was wondering if maybe it was a trap that Boba set up. It may be not, but that's just kind of my theory, that maybe that's something that Boba set up to kind of like take him out or get his armor back or whatever. I don't know.
Very well could have, because they did say get the child.
Yeah.
Which is, like,
and that's
specific.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. Like, there's a lot of people who are, going after the child still and going after him. So I feel like we're going to get some clarity on that maybe later. What I love about Favreau in this whole series is he does a great job of like planting little seeds and then just leaving them and letting them grow and then picking them up later, So I thought that was cool. So anyway, he gets taken out on the speeder bike or whatever, ends up carrying everything for miles and miles and miles.
Already a new meme.
Right? Oh my God, dude. So he makes it back to the hangar somehow. And dude, by the way, he walked through, like, this guy's such a badass, dude. He walked all the way through the desert, full armor and everything, makes his way back to the hangar, and ends up talking to I always forget her name, that character.
Amy
Sedaris, thank you. Yeah.
I don't know her name in the show.
I know, I never remember her name. But the Amy Sedaris character, I've been on a record, not my favorite character in this.
A little too spunky.
Yeah, it's somebody. I actually heard somebody today say it harkens back to a lot of like the prequels type of dialogue, and a lot of it is the dialogue. Like, she's just kind of weird, I guess.
I feel like it's not Star Wars if they don't try to cram some bad humor.
Yeah. She's the Mando's Jar Jar is basically. Yeah. But
which is weird because she's usually really funny, but like it's got to be the writing that, because it's just very forced.
Yeah, I feel like it is too. But it's the only thing I don't like about the series, so I just choke it down. It's fine, whatever. But so I did kind of like how they showed him cooking the meat. That was cool. Like the crate dragon meat. I thought that was neat.
Yeah.
And then we, so this episode, directed by Peyton Reed, I thought it was a really cool kind of homage. The person she's playing poker with in the bar is an ant, or like a ant-looking creature, and Peyton Reed directed Ant-Man. So I thought that was like a neat little, Easter egg thing.
Okay.
So I don't know if they did that on purpose or if it just happened to work out, but I have a feeling, especially with Favreau, it was probably done on purpose. But I thought that was kind of cool. Obviously, they're doing the poker game. She hits Mando up for money and then ends up paying the guy's poker tab, which, and then he ends up giving her the information about the person who he's going to end up having to get more information from to find more Mandalorian. So kind of a throwaway scene, really, but, it is what it is. Your thoughts on the poker scene, or just...
No, just pretty generic one.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping, I was wondering if it was going to be in the same spot that Han shot Greedo.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know if it was. I couldn't really tell.
Different camera angle.
I'm thinking about it back, and I was like, I wonder if that was the same spot, because it didn't. 1 and 1 didn't connect for me.
Yeah. Well, again, probably a different camera angle, so there's no really way to know that. So get back to the hangar, and then she brings out the frog lady. And that's the only way I know her as, because I don't think they gave her a name. So the frog lady brings out the frog lady, and she has her eggs, and they explain how, she wants a ride, and she'll give him a ride, or he'll give her a ride, and in exchange she'll bring him basically to some Mandalorian. So my question, I do have a question about the frog lady. In the prequels, because later on we see her running, right? In the prequels, there's the scene where Obi-Wan's riding like the big frog, right? Is that the same species, do you think?
No. Well, see, I don't. I think I think she's a lizard.
Okay, yeah.
Two, but I think in the prequels he was riding a giant lizard, but they weren't sentient in the way that they could communicate.
Yeah, it's true.
From what I remember, they were very, like,
yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, it just seemed like she was making similar. I mean, maybe it's just a subspecies or something. Who knows? But yeah. But I was like, it seems similar. So, but either way, cool. Like, so the lizard lady, he gives her a ride, and she can't travel in light speed. So, because of the eggs, apparently the eggs, that's going to be an issue. So they get on the ship, they start heading out, and of course they run into trouble. He goes to sleep, and he gets woken up because there's two X-Wings right there. One of them being Dave Filoni, by the way.
Yep.
So I did notice that. And then the other actor, I don't know him as well, but I heard he stars on a show called Kim's Convenience. But anyway, yeah. So I haven't seen that show. I hear it's really good. Anyway, I digress. So two X-Wing fighters, they're asking for his transponder, whatnot. Of course, he doesn't have that. And then an awesome fighter chase scene ensues, and that was cool, man. Like, how does he? First of all, that thing is like a brick on jets, basically, his ship, right? And he's outmaneuvering X-Wings. I don't know, man. I thought that was really cool. What are your thoughts on that?
I always like that they've mentioned multiple times in the series, like, what a hunk of junk, like the Millennium Falcon was. They always say, like, even when they were chasing him, they're like, what is he doing in that piece of junk?
Yeah.
They see, I always think they do a great job with those scenes. The better that technology gets, it always looks better.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of the Razor Crest. I think it looks awesome. You know me, I collect my big Lego sets. I'm waiting for them to do a big Lego of that. I love that ship, but it always seems like it is getting destroyed.
Yeah.
And I love that. Like every week, every season it seems to get destroyed a little bit and then put back together.
Yeah, then he's got to put it back together, and
yeah,
dude, it really got wrecked this time. It got mangled.
Because last season the Jawas stripped it, and then now it's like this is actually getting destroyed.
Yeah. But and the other thing with that is like it shows that he's a hell of a pilot. Like, I mean, let's face it, and we've seen what X-Wings can do in their maneuverability, and that ship, he's able to do some shit with that thing that I don't know.
When he cut off the engines.
Yeah,
awesome.
And just dropped. Yeah, that was so cool, man. That whole scene was amazing. And I was saying, like, last episode too, I felt like the production value definitely has gone up this season.
Oh yeah,
they have dropped a ton of money into this.
Yeah, I mean, they like I said with the Boba Fett thing, they know what they've got. They know that this is just a cash cow.
Yeah,
they're gonna put everything they've got. I mean, what else did they can't do movies in theaters.
Yep.
They can't. The parks are closed. Or I mean, I think they're open now.
Well, they've been open, but California's not. But I think Florida is. Yeah.
But they're still not pulling in the money that they used to.
Yeah.
So they know that right now this TV subscription service is going to be paying some bills for them. So they know what they're doing.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so he ends up crashing, right? So he does the whole turn off the jets thing, falls down basically, and ends up crashing. Oh, go ahead.
I do want to talk about this.
Okay.
So these eggs are the end of their species. They're so careful. They can't go into light speed. They got them just sitting in the loading bay of this ship.
Yep.
Haphazardly.
I was thinking the same.
I was like, come on. That's my one concern of this season going forward is that they get a little quote unquote silly.
Yeah. Well, I call that the Dave Filoni effect.
I was going to bring it up later, but I guess now that's the one concern I have is this Baby Yoda. He's so cute. He's so lovable. Mm-hmm. Everybody loves him.
Yeah.
Now, like he's, I don't want it to turn into the Mandalorian with his little Baby Yoda sidekick.
Yeah.
Where he's like, where he's scurrying around, grabbing eggs.
Well, and that was my concern starting with the first episode, and they did such a great job on the first episode of not doing that. I mean,
right.
I'm gonna get to the eggs. I'm holding off on the eggs yet.
Okay.
But yes, I'm in agreement with you on that. But all right. So, but I do agree. Like, the eggs are flopping around in the ship. I thought the same thing. I'm like, dude, if these things are so precious, why aren't they strapped down, or why isn't she holding them? And on top of that, like, where the hell is baby? Is he just flopping around in the ship too? Like,
again, he has no regard for this thing.
Yeah, at some points they try to show him as like the good parent, and then at other times it's like, oh, just whatever, kid, you're fine. But anyway, so ship crashes. They're sitting there on the ice waiting. You see the X-Wings go by, and then all of a sudden the ice breaks and the ship falls down into the ice cavern and really wrecks. Like, it's cracked in half almost, basically. So, flash forward a little bit further, and then we get into the eggs. And the first time Baby Yoda finds the eggs. And at first I was like, okay, he's going to this egg thing. He puts his hand on there, and the eggs are drawn to him. He uses the Force and pulls them over to him a little bit in the container. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe he just senses, like, life in there, right? Force powers, whatever. Nope, this kid's hungry. This kid's hungry, and he pops the top, and he starts stuffing eggs. And immediately, I'm thinking, this lizard frog mom character, she's going to start freaking out. Does not freak out the entire episode, by the way.
Yeah, doesn't notice any of the eggs missing.
Oh, well, maybe at the end. Like, I'm not sure about the end where she, like, kind of looks at Baby Yoda and grips it a little tighter.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't know.
But still, you'd think she would have, like, she ends up going on that big speech, wake up, Mando, wake up, and that's another thing. They harken back to that droid that got shot in the ship. And she's using the droid to talk to him because they don't speak the same language, Yeah. And that whole speech she gives, and at no time during that she goes, "Oh, by the way, some of my eggs are missing." Doesn't even bother with that. She disappears and goes to the the springs or whatever, the hot springs that she finds in there, to warm up her eggs while he's working on the ship. There's the scene right before they show the hot springs where Baby Yoda comes out, and he's like, "Oh, you can come help me, kid," and he just kind of walks off, and so he follows him. I'm curious to know, because they are definitely showing Baby Yoda doing more emoting of some type. So, like, before it was just like little like baby coos, and now it seems like he's trying to say things, but I mean, who knows if that's like a language of their species or if it's just random shit,
Yeah, I don't know. I agree that it's not even he's got a lot of locomotion now. Like, they're showing him like in his little sack walking, and I think it's evolving a little bit, and that's why I'm curious as to where they're gonna. I don't know where they're gonna take him. Is he gonna start talking? Which I hope not, because.
Well, I mean, how fast can he progress? I guess that's the question.
Right, and that's where I get worried about what they're going to do with him.
I do think they are showing more intelligence in him. They're showing that he can process things a little bit more. He's not just sitting there, But it's just a question of how far, and I guess it depends on like what would be acceptable. Like, I don't think they should have him talk this season for sure. Out of the question. I mean, how long would it be acceptable? Season 4, 5, 6.
I'm guessing if they do, it'll be a time jump.
And that's I think that would probably be it, because at some point I almost feel like it's inevitable. Like
where he turns into a fully functioning character.
Yeah. I just feel like it's got to be inevitable at some point that they do that, but maybe not. Maybe the whole time. I don't know. One thing Favreau has shown is that he is willing to be patient with it and not really give in to some of that pressure. But we'll see. We'll definitely see. So we get to the spring where the little hot tub thing where she's sitting in the hot tub. She's trying to warm up the eggs. Baby Yoda's over there reaching for eggs. He yells at Baby Yoda, and Baby Yoda kind of just gets sad. Was that him crying, by the way? Was he like crying right before he went over to the little?
I don't know. I think it was just disappointed.
Yeah. So he waddles over to that little thing and he starts messing with it and pulls out that little bug and eats it, and then it turns into a horror movie.
Well, right away. I mean, first thing I said, I knew it was going to be frost spiders.
Yeah.
And then second, I was like, I got super Ridley Scott vibes.
Oh, dude, I was thinking the same thing. Alien.
And then when the egg opened,
yeah,
I was like, oh yeah, that's definitely something. I mean, that's not. I don't think it's something, but I mean, the way the egg opened, I was like, oh, it's Alien for sure.
Dude, yeah, it was straight out of Alien. I thought the exact same thing, and then I'm sitting here going, why are they just standing there? They're just like the lizard lady's sitting in the hot tub, and then Mando's just standing there looking at all these spiders coming out. He doesn't move. Yeah. I'm like, dude, run! Like,
yeah, and that again, that goes back to that. I'm like, please don't turn it into a show where you're like, we all have the shows where you're like, well, that's not how people would react.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying I've ever been attacked by frost spiders, but
yeah.
if I see hundreds of scary spiders emerging out of eggs, I'd be like, let's go.
Yeah.
And that's, it took, she had to do her froggy tongue to grab her clothes.
That actually made me laugh.
I did. I mean, I didn't dislike it, but I'm like, all right, I know you're waiting to do something.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
But she sat there for a while, and he sat. I'm like, what are you doing? Go, man. There's a bunch of fucking spiders coming after you. Move your ass, Oh, yeah. Man. But it's still... That whole scene after, I'm torn on it, right? Like, because it felt very Alien more than Star Wars, but at the same time, it was cool. Like, holy shit, man! All those creature monsters and like all them spiders coming after him, and he's just wrecking full. He's like burning them up and that's the first thing I was thinking. Like, use the torch, like he's torching them.
Which, by the way, when he lit it. And it started, and then it gets like intense. I was like, "Oh,
that was awesome!
Effect.
Very awesome. I loved that." So they're running away. He's blowing them up or whatever. They get to the ship. They get to the cockpit. He's trying to shut the doors. He's torching all the spiders. You see the part where the spider lands on Baby Yoda's head. He starts freaking out. By the way, through that whole thing, there were a lot of like shots where they would kind of go to Baby Yoda. And you're sitting there going, oh, is this where he uses the Force? Is this that moment,
Yeah, where he starts picking up a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, the whole episode, nothing. He doesn't do it at all. Well, he's got a spider on his head, and he's like, ah!
By the way, they said, you brought up him using the Force when he touches the canister.
Yeah. It
was weird. So I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I'm still not clear on... The Mando says, "And may the Force be with you," to the X-wing pilot.
Yeah, which they responded like Catholic nuns, and also with you, which I thought was hilarious.
I'm like, wait, I thought they don't know. I thought people don't know what the Force is. They established that in season 1. He had no idea. He's like, he has some kind of mind powers, but I don't know. Maybe he knew that was like a phrase of the Republic. Yeah, but like, okay, so this is set, 30 years after the Empire's at its power?
Yeah, I think it's like 6 years after it fell. So
okay, so let's just say that 50 years ago, the Jedi Order was in full power.
Yeah.
On Coruscant.
Yeah.
Everybody knew what Jedi were.
That's a big complaint about this show in general. I've heard a lot of people complain about that, where, they're like, how do you not know what Jedi are? It's not like it's only been how long? People know who the Sith are, but they don't know who the Jedi are.
I always say, I'm like, I don't know one person that's Buddhist.
Yeah,
but I know what Buddhism. You know what it is? I don't know a Jedi.
Well, not just that, but the Jedi were like the keepers of peace and order throughout the galaxy for multiple millennia, thousands of years. And I get that Palpatine, when he was in power, probably tried to eradicate them and every memory of them. I get that, but it's not like everybody just forgot. That's one of the things that I'm a little down on it, but it's Star Wars. Star Wars has been like that. It's kind of like there was something like that in Rise of Skywalker too, where it was just like, oh, what is that? And it's like, how do you not know what this is? You know, like
yeah, no, that's the one thing, and I know it's Star Wars doesn't need Jedi, Star Wars doesn't need Sith, but I'm like, when they throw that stuff in there, I'm like, how is this guy saying the Force be with you? And like you said, they're like, dude, it was straight out of Catholic.
Sorry, if you know anybody who's Catholic, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I actually said it also with you. I was actually not even paying attention. It just felt so forced.
Yeah, no. I was dying. I took it as, you know, it's probably a Republic phrase that, you know, they had used, and he probably knew of the phrase. But yes, I think it's a stretch. I do think it's a stretch, but as long as it's not a huge part of the storyline, so whatever. I don't know, but yes, you're right. You're definitely right. And
I get that. Star Wars is super easy to nitpick.
Yeah.
Because even I was watching it last night, and when they showed the inside of the cockpit of the X-wing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know, these X-wings haven't got an upgrade in a long time.
I know.
They still have the.
Dude, they're still using the same. They're the same shit. I mean, they were the prequels. They're in the original series. They're in the
their tracking software is still
it's still that, and it's still like a little like mouse thing. I was like, what?
Yeah, I'm like, come on, guys,
dude. I know.
Let's bump it up a little bit.
All of this amazing technology they have, and all the hologram stuff, but you know, the tracking software is still, you know, Pong. Basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that I thought that was funny too. But so we're we're at the part. The spiders.
They're back to the ship.
They got back to the ship. They get into the cockpit. They made it a point to show that the lizard lady, you know, found a blaster and shot a few spiders. I don't know if that was done on purpose or just, you know, randomly, but she was shooting a few of the spiders. He gets the door shut. So then he's got the door shut. Apparently he did enough repairs on the ship, because all of a sudden, okay, we're going to see if this thing takes off. It starts to take off. They're going to escape, and Big Mama Spider, boom, drops down on top of it, starts pegging the shit out of the cockpit and everything else, and they're fucked at this point, right? And then, of course, they're not, because all of a sudden, blasters, Mama Spider gets hit, all the other spiders get taken out, and you got the two X-Wings landed there. And the not the Dave Filoni guy, but the other pilot, he's, you know, talking about what happened, and he harkens back to the episode last season where they break the dude out of jail. And he talks about, okay,
the worst episode of the season, in my opinion.
Close. I thought the one where they were on Tatooine the first time I thought was worse, but
I shouldn't say it. You're right. The only reason I hated it is because of that the girl Twi'lek, who kept hissing.
Yeah.
Oh, God, man, did that grate me bad.
Well, I'm pretty sure both of those episodes were Dave Filoni episodes, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, look at you piling on.
I know, I will continue to pile on. But so anyway, they talk about that and how he basically saved the what was it, the pilot or the guard or whatever that guy was. But
yeah, he saved the pilot, and I think it was two pilots. Yeah, he saved them.
Yeah. So he said, you know, like, we saw that as well. So, you know, basically, you know, we're just gonna kind of leave you alone, and they take off. So they save the day and then leave him there. So...
I do like. Well, he said it. He's like, I'll give you guys the bounty from like whatever I got, and they're like, nah, you got it.
Yeah. Just left him there to his own thing. So again, you get another montage after that where he's repairing the ship again, you know, and
by the way, the mommy spider blasted through the glass in the cockpit.
Yeah, apparently he had glass stored in there somewhere.
And again, I hate to be like nitpicky, but I was like, so he fixed the glass?
Yeah.
Okay.
Apparently he had glass stored in there. It didn't break the 5 times the ship tumbled either. So
yeah.
Sometimes you got to suspend disbelief. I don't know.
100%. 100%.
But fixes the ship, takes off, and he says, he's like, well, I got the cockpit sealed, basically. The rest of the ship is screwed. So I hope he took all the valuables up there, at least. I'm wondering if, like, Boba Fett's armor got brought up there, or if it's just flopping in the wind back there somewhere.
I'm sure it's flopping around in the wind in the cargo bay.
Yeah. But it takes off. You see, I love how you see the ship as they take off and they get in outer space, and it's like it's just barely limping along. I thought that was cool. And then you see the scene where she kind of looks at Baby Yoda, holds the eggs tight, and then basically fade to black after that. So I think this whole episode, honestly, kind of wrapping up in a whole, I thought it was, I don't want to say filler, but I think it's a setup episode. I think they're setting up something else later.
They are, and I can tell you what it is.
Oh, hey man, go for it. It's all you. Take it away.
Here's a tidbit that I gleaned. Watch the trailer for the season of Mando.
Okay.
And you see when, and I don't know this for sure, but obviously, the scene where you see Ahsoka with her hood up, or who we think is Ahsoka.
Yeah. They're
on the planet, because the next scene is him walking with, you see the lizard lady with the canister on her back in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
And the next scene. So I'm guessing next week is Ahsoka is going to be the Mandalorian that she knows about.
Really?
I'm taking a swing.
I mean, it's very possible. I have heard rumors that Ahsoka isn't going to show up till like episode 5 or 6, but rumors. So unknown.
Again, that could
unverified.
Very well be.
Yeah. But here's my question for you with the Ahsoka Tano. How many episodes do you think we're going to get with Ahsoka?
I think this season is going to be Boba.
Yeah.
And then I think she's going to be in a little bit. I don't think they want to do Jedi too much.
I agree. Here's two things that I think. I think Dave Filoni is most definitely going to be directing the Ahsoka Tano episode or episodes.
What did you think of the Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka?
I think it's an amazing casting choice.
I agree.
I think she's going to be phenomenal. What a great, and I think the age fits too. She's right in that age range. She's not a kid anymore, so like it's perfect. I think it's a perfect casting choice. I know I pile on Dave Filoni a lot. I will say this again, the dude's Star Wars knowledge is awesome. And one thing that I do like about him is if you watched the gallery thing, he talked about how he's like, look, I've never directed live action. I am learning from all of these people, which means he's willing to learn. He's willing to get better. I will also say that I liked Rebels. Like, I thought Rebels was a really good show. I wasn't as big of a fan of Clone Wars, although there were moments in Clone Wars that were amazing.
I have some people that are as big of fans as me, and they love Clone Wars, and I've attempted it many times.
Yeah.
I think what I'm going to do is skip to the more of the end, where because everybody says like it gets like heavy at the end.
Well, the final season, yeah, did skip the first, the last 4 episodes in the final season are awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, and that's what I'm going to do before, because I don't know, I'm not as knowledgeable on Ahsoka as other aspects of, like Boba Fett. I know again, we talked about this before, but Boba Fett, I know everything about Boba Fett.
Yeah.
And that's why, I think they could really do that series some justice.
Yeah.
Ahsoka, I don't know, and I do want to know a little bit more before she gets introduced.
Yeah. She has I watched all of Clone Wars. Again, there are episodes that are just like, oh, this is terrible. But then there's that random episode, and it's typically towards the end of each season where he just kills it, and it's amazing, and it's great storytelling. And it just sucks that he couldn't figure out how to get it through the whole thing. Again, Filoni definitely has a love affair with Ahsoka Tano. There's no doubt. But
he's got it out for her. I guess.
Oh yeah, dude. There's no doubt. But a lot of her episodes are the better episodes where it focuses on her, and a lot of times they jump off of her and go on to something else, and it just isn't as good. But you could pretty much Google the best Clone Wars episodes and just pick them out. and watch them. I had some time when, you know, like lockdown started back in March, so I just plowed through the whole thing. But there's definitely some good canonical stuff in there that's worth watching. Rebels, I think, is better. I think Rebels is a much better series.
I did watch most of Rebels, not the last season. I enjoyed it very much.
Yeah, Rebels is definitely the better. And again, there's some Ahsoka Tano stuff in there too, which I think will, especially with Rebels, I think that will kind of cross because it's almost the same time frame. When you get to the end, especially the last season of Rebels, you're talking about right before Mandalorian, basically. So Rebels, timeline-wise, leads more into Mandalorian than does Jedi.
Clone Wars.
Or Jedi. Well, Clone Wars is way before. But, like, Return of the Jedi is 6 years before. So Rebels actually has a little bleed after. So,
right.
Yeah, so I feel like that's a better... Anyway, getting off topic a little bit. But... So all in all, I felt like this episode, again, kind of a setup for things to come. I do feel like they're going to get to this planet and there's not going to be any Mandalorian there. So that might fit right into what you were talking about.
Yeah, no. I don't think they're... Because, I mean, again, Mandalorian is Mandalore was a planet. So it's still... It's not like it's not a planet anymore. That's why I don't understand... We talked about this before we started recording, but, you know, with the books, Mandalore was a planet. Boba Fett became the Mandalore, where he was like the president of the planet, you know, like the head guy. So I don't, now they're like running around in these groups, hiding out underground as like mercenaries. Yeah. I still don't understand exactly what a Mandalore is. I know they subscribe to a religion, quote unquote. But I don't know like how there's just like random packs of these people running around.
So in this is why you should probably watch the last season of Clone Wars, because they definitely get into a lot of Mandalores. Because what's his name? Darth Maul. Maul was like the leader of Mandalore for a while. He came in and like overthrew the country and was like the leader of the entire country, the planet. He was like he was the leader of Mandalore basically. He came in and overthrew it and became the leader. And they get into all of that in that last season of Clone Wars.
See, that's I do have in the last season.
Yeah.
Well,
they started getting into it in the season before, but they really delve into it in the last season. So there's a lot of Mandalore. In Clone Wars and in Rebels, there's a lot of Mandalore, because Sabine Wren in Rebels is obviously a Mandalorian, and they explain a lot of the different like sects of Mandalorians and like the different clans and whatnot. They're almost like it's like fucking Braveheart. You know how they had different clans, you know?
Sure.
Mandalorians are the same thing. They have different sects and clans and stuff, and so it gets into all of that. And it's a pretty deep like base to it. So they talk about in Mandalorian, in the TV show, the first season, they talked about the Purge, the Great Purge, and you're gonna see some of that in that last season of Clone Wars. They talk about that.
So then I do have to watch that.
Yeah. So it all kind of ties in, and that's that Dave Filoni influence, you know, where you're gonna get a lot of that. So Clone Wars and Rebels are very canonical when it comes to Mandalorian. I feel like anyway.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So I feel like like I said, I think this episode was setting up. I don't think he's gonna run into any Mandalorian on whatever planet he gets to. I don't know how important those eggs are gonna be. Apparently not that important since Baby Yoda's popping them like deviled eggs.
You think they're like Pringles?
Yeah, right. Dude, the first time he ate one, I'm like, oh my god, he ate one. He's fucking
I thought that
dead.
was gonna be a big. I thought the thing was gonna come down, like start freaking out. She's like, don't worry about it.
Yeah. I still think that's gonna be a thing at some point. So, but yeah. So all in all, I felt like it was kind of a not filler. It's a little bigger than a filler, but I think it's a setup episode. I think.
Give me it 1 through 10.
7.
7. Agreed.
Yeah. I'd say about a 7. It's not as bad as the Jailbreak episode or the Tatooine episode last season, but it's definitely not one of the better episodes. But, they can't all be great either.
Well, I feel like they can't do anything now that everybody knows that Ahsoka's coming. Everybody knows that now we know Boba knows that there's a Mandalorian running around with his armor.
Yeah.
It's like, it's tough to, by the way, how great was that scene? I know you talked about it, but when he comes in with the Boba Fett armor,
and
I was like, you said the same thing. I was like, that guy's way too skinny to be Boba Fett.
Dude, yeah, I totally, yeah. As soon as I saw him, I'm like, man, his arms look like they're this big. That is not Boba Fett. There's no fucking way. And then as soon as he took the helmet off and you see Mandalorian's reaction, he's like, and you can't see his face, but you know exactly what he's doing. He's like, oh yeah, that is not a Mandalorian.
So, when he started walking, I was watching it by myself, but I was like, that's Timothy. I didn't know it was gonna be Timothy Olyphant. I was like, that's Timothy Olyphant. And my wife was like, how do you know? I was like, that's how he walked in Deadwood. He walks weird.
He's got a weird way he carries himself. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got this weird saunter, and I was like, it's Timothy Olyphant. I knew it as soon as he started talking.
Yep. Yeah.
I was like, but that was great. I like that. They showed the dent in the helmet when he puts it on the table.
Yep.
Like they were like really, yeah. So it was great, and I think this season is gonna shape up really nicely.
I think so too. I did have one problem with that though, and I talked about it the other day too. My big problem with it is how the hell does he get this armor from the Jawas and then all of a sudden shows up and knows how to use it right away? Like,
Google. Google how do I use Boba Fett's armor?
Is it Force Skull or like what would they? Anyway, sorry. Yeah, dude. Like, that was my one thing because they made it such a big point in season 1 to like say it takes a while to learn how to use the jetpack. And all of a sudden here's this Marshal, he rolls up in there and just immediately like flying around and shooting missiles. Well,
here's the thing. So Boba Fett fell into the Sarlacc pit, which, by the way, I thought the Crate Dragon was going to be a Sarlacc.
I did too initially. Yeah, but but I was worried about that too because like in Jedi, like I can't totally remember, but I felt like Jabba was saying that the Sarlaccs don't move; they just sit there. They
don't.
Yeah, so
they did. Because that was an area that was like. That it was known because it had that Sarlacc there. Obviously, that's where they went.
Yeah, yeah. So,
I'm interested to see how they. That's why, like, if they do that I do hope it's a mini series. I don't want to do like a whole other show based on Boba Fett.
Yeah. Let me see here. Keep going, man. I'm gonna look really quick to see because I think it says here.
I want to know how he got out of the. Because, like we talked about again, the books, they say, he got digested through the thing and, like, Jawas found him and, like, or whatever. I don't exactly remember. But I'm interested to see how he survived the Sarlacc and, like, how he got his armor taken away or if he was, or if he killed the Sarlacc and then crawled out of the pit.
Yeah, yeah. It does say here miniseries. So it is going to be a miniseries. And I think that's the best way to go about it.
Yeah, because his past, I don't know about his past, but like after he gets out of the Sarlacc and he like gets back into like, they can do some really interesting things, like a few episodes like throughout his life.
Yeah.
And to see him, I truly am interested to see that, but it's gonna be a fun story to see just how he got. I want to see how he got out of the Sarlacc pit. To be honest with you, that's what I'm most interested in.
Yeah, I agree. I'm curious. Well, two things: how did he get out, and then, like you said, what happened to his armor? Like, did he take off his armor and the Jawas just snuck up and stole it? Yeah. I mean, I'm very curious to know that as well. So, another thing, because, okay, so you said you watched some Rebels and some Clone Wars. Did you see any episodes where they were on Mandalore at all?
No.
Okay. So, the big thing in this whole show, and it's another inconsistency. The big thing in this whole show is he can't take off his helmet. He can't take off his helmet. Dude, when you watch Rebels or Clone Wars, They get to Mandalore, and everybody's, hey, what's up? And they're taking off their helmets. Yeah. They're all talking. Nobody's wearing their helmets, and they only put their helmets on to fight. Basically, that's it.
I didn't get that either.
Yeah, I do think and then there's a thing. There's a character that Obi-Wan had a thing with in Clone Wars that was a Mandalorian. So there's a lot that you probably got to catch up on with that. So because
by the way, we can't forget Cara Dune and the guy who beat up Rocky is coming back too. I can't think of his name.
Carl Weathers, is that it?
No, Apollo Creed.
Why am I thinking?
No, you're right. It's Carl Weathers.
Carl Weathers, yeah.
No, you're right.
Apollo Creed, yeah.
Apollo Creed in Mandalorian.
Yeah, it is. It's Apollo. He died, and then that's like no. Anyway,
Apollo Creed.
If he dies, he dies.
They're coming back too, so they're going to start fitting a lot of characters. I mean,
yeah.
I don't even know how much, to be honest with you, how much Boba Fett and Ahsoka are going to be in it with, because that's a big cast, and they give little Yoda his big screen time too.
What I don't want to see is Ahsoka Tano on screen for a minute. I don't want to see that. What I also don't want to see is Ahsoka Tano taking over the show. So I feel like one episode where there's a story arc with Ahsoka Tano, I think would be
and I think you're correct not only in wanting that, but assuming that is what it's going to be, because like I said, I don't know what role Jedi are going to have in this.
Yeah.
Or ex-Jedi. I know she's ex-Jedi, but I don't know what role they're going to have in this show.
And that's the other thing, because when he says, I have to bring him to his people, is he talking about, the Yoda species, or is he talking about Jedi? And because the Mandalorian he was talking to, she says, there's that ancient race of sorcerers called Jedi. And so I think he, because of that, is thinking that his people are Jedi, not whatever race Yoda is.
Yeah, I don't get that. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think it's going to be, because what was the other guy? Yoda and Yaddle?
Yaddle. Yeah.
Yaddle.
Yeah.
Like we only know of two of these things.
Well, and Yaddle had like a minute. Not even like 30 seconds in Star Wars. So like,
I'm guessing. I mean, unless you find out like there's some distant relative of which it can't be of Yoda.
What was Yaddle? Yaddle was female, right? I mean,
no, it was a guy.
It was a guy. So Yaddle was a guy. So it wasn't even like it's Yoda and Yaddle's offspring. I mean, maybe it is. I don't know.
Maybe
I don't know how they do that. Yeah.
Maybe they're asexual.
Yeah. Who knows how that works? Yeah. That's all the stuff that we all need to know, right? Like, or should know at some point. I feel like they got to get into that.
And I feel like one thing you do know is they're going to finally reveal what species Yoda is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we don't know that.
Got to be a swamp planet, right? I would think.
I mean, maybe it's like Dagobah. I don't know.
Yeah, it better not be Dagobah. It can't be Dagobah. Man, that would be just too easy.
They wouldn't do that. That would be too much. I mean, you know me. I have Kylo Ren in the background, so I'm a huge. I was a huge sequel guy, but even the last one for me, I was like,
yeah. Oh, right. Look, it's a Death Star. Oh fuck! What the hell are the ships? The battleships' names? I just love how they merged two things in one. So they took a Death Star and shoved it into a Star Destroyer. Thank you. It's a Death Star Star Destroyer. Yeah.
Even some of the things like I like Force Awakens. I wasn't too hot on The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
And then The Rise of Skywalker again. I was like. But I just don't want them forcing, like you said last week, you don't have to shove Star Wars things into my face because it's Star Wars. They're like, we're going to Dagobah. You're like, okay. There's still an X-Wing down here for some reason. You're like, all right.
My point last week was, if it fits the story, cool. Like how they had R5. It fit the story. He had a purpose. It wasn't just, here's R5. It was, okay, R5 is doing something. If it fits the story, I think it's good. If they just, and like when I first saw they went to Tatooine last week, at first I'm like, fuck, Tatooine again? But it fit the story. So then I was totally cool with it because it was perfect. Like, so as long as it fits the story, that's cool. But if they're just throwing it in like Rise of Skywalker, then that's where it becomes, just fan service, And there's nothing wrong with fan service if it fits within what.
Well, if it serves the purpose,
yes,
not just to be there. Like, and we talked about this again. Rogue One, I'm a huge Rogue One guy because it had a few moments where you're like they cut in the old footage of the X-wing from A New Hope, awesome. Mm-hmm. They cut in a few little things like that where you're like, oh, that's that. But it was like a completely one-off original story that fit very well into the overall story.
Yeah,
perfect. So I always base everything on like, just do it like Rogue One. It's perfect.
Yeah.
And like we talked about the ending, the best ending, best 3 minutes of Star Wars that's ever existed.
Dude, yes, it's everything I ever wanted from Vader. It's everything I ever would have. Oh God, that was so amazing. And they're never gonna do it, but man, there is a time period, right, between like that, and it's right in that Rogue One wheelhouse where Anakin becomes Vader. And then you start A New Hope, right? And there's a time period where they could do like maybe a mini series or something with Vader. But
if I had 3 wishes from a genie, 2 of them would be give me a Darth Vader movie or like a 10-episode series. Just if I don't know, I read the not so much anymore, but the comics, the Darth Vader comics.
Yeah, I've never read them. Yeah.
I mean, there's one up where, I mean, like he's surrounded by guys and they're like, give up, you're surrounded. And he's like, I'm surrounded by is dead men. And you're like, yeah.
See, and dude, like, I feel like that time frame, there's a gap where they can tell a story in there. I do think they should wait a little bit. I think they should wait a little bit on it, but.
Well, I just heard that they got the go ahead for. No, I don't know if this is true. I'm just saying that they're in talks to do Solo too.
It's not entirely true. So what happened, it was the other day, Ron Howard was doing an interview and he said basically that he's hearing, the interest. He said he'd be willing to do it. But he said he made it a point to say too that nothing is happening yet.
Oh, good, because that's the lowest performing Star Wars movie.
Performing, yes, it was fun. I actually liked that movie.
You did, really?
I did. I liked that movie. I thought it was fun. I felt like if they had not done that movie right after they just had Han Solo on screen, in Force Awakens, I felt like it would have done a lot better.
I feel like it would have done better if they did Solo first and then Rogue One.
Maybe, yeah. Or if they would have done Solo first before Force Awakens. Like, because we just, like, literally it was the year before. We just saw Han Solo.
Han Solo die on screen.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden they're doing the backstory. I felt like it would have been better if they would have done it before. Or, like you said, before Rogue One. Yeah.
I feel like, fortunately, Rogue One set the bar very high for
well, that movie was amazing. That movie was amazing. Talk about taking one little slice of Star Wars and creating just a great. They took one line out of A New Hope where, the rebels lost their lives getting this information. One line.
Yeah.
And made it into a whole movie, and it was awesome. Awesome.
Well, not only that, I mean, there's not many movies that are super popular that they kill every character.
Yes.
That they introduced 2 hours earlier.
Yep. Yeah. And it's funny because they're talking about trying to do a spin-off of that movie. Cassian Andor. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
They're doing that one for sure.
Yeah, that is happening. Yeah. So that's a prequel of Rogue One anyway. So yeah. Anyway, to wrap this whole thing up, so you'd ask me to give it a number this episode. What do you think?
I would go 6.57.
Yeah.
Right around there.
Yeah.
It's still Star Wars and it's good Star Wars.
Yeah.
So I'm always a fan. It's not like some hokey, like the Lego special that they're doing, the Lego holiday special, which is happening. That's a real thing that is happening.
It is.
No, it's done. I mean, it's happening.
I won't watch that. Sorry.
Yeah, I won't either.
Yeah, I don't watch the
I
Lego stuff.
Lily my daughter will probably make me watch it. But I like the episode, but I agree with you a little bit, Philly.
Yeah.
I think it's going to set up. It's setting up what I think is going to be a great season. I really like that they use different directors.
Yeah.
So you get a little different feel each week, or every couple episodes. I'm excited to see where they take it. I like Cara Dune. I love I forget her, Gina Carano.
Yeah.
Playing her is great. I like Carl Weathers.
She has come a long way. Like, because she was in Deadpool, and it was like, okay, whatever. She was kind of this badass character. She's come a long way as an actress. I feel like she's really stepped up her bar in Mandalorian.
Yeah, she was. I forgot the movie. I think it was Livewire, something Haywire. Something
Yeah, I don't think I saw that one. I'm pretty.
Check it out. It's just an action movie.
Yeah,
not bad. But and don't forget, Giancarlo Esposito,
dude.
as the.
Oh man, he is so amazing as he plays. Yeah, he's Gideon, right? Moff Gideon.
There you go, Moff Gideon.
Yeah, dude. Perfect casting, by the way. Perfect casting. He plays that
this
villain.
guy couldn't play a bad guy any better.
Yeah.
I don't know if you watched The Boys.
I watched The Boys and I saw Breaking Bad. Come on, dude. Like,
I was gonna say he's in Breaking. And this dude plays the best bad guy.
He is amazing. Yeah.
And you still have I want to see the baby. What's his name?
Werner Herzog.
Werner Herzog. Thank you.
I thought he died. Didn't he die? His character?
No.
No, he's alive still.
I don't think he died.
I thought he did.
I don't remember him dying.
Man, I'll have to watch it. I think it was like episode 2. I'll have to watch that again. But
no, because when he came back to steal Baby Yoda, he didn't kill him. I might be forgetting, but I feel like I
can't
remember
now. I can't remember.
We'll have to look it up later, but
I mean, it just gives me another excuse to watch the early episodes again. So.
There's still a lot of loose ends that are going to come into play. They have to come in sooner than later.
And what we know about Favreau is he's done a really good job of, like, he'll have those ends and then he'll pull a thread back through and he'll pull that loose end back up and bring it right back into the storyline. He's really good about it, and I'm excited to see where that goes. Bold prediction for next episode. What do you think's going to happen? Bold prediction.
Something just popped in my head. Moff Gideon, got his dark saber, going to fight Mandalorian. All of a sudden you see a lightsaber stop the dark saber as he's about to cut into a Mandalorian. It's Ahsoka.
Okay, so you think that's next episode? Do you think that's where they're going?
I'm going. That's my bold prediction for next episode. All
right. Okay. I'm not going as bold as you. I think he gets to that planet. I don't think he finds any Mandalorians there. And man, I got to do a bold prediction though. What would be my bold prediction? I do think maybe Moff Gideon catches up to him. I think maybe Moff Gideon will catch up to him, or it'll be some kind of trap at the next planet. I don't think there's any Mandalorians there, and I think it's either a trap or Moff Gideon catches up to him somehow. So that's my bold prediction for next episode. I think that's as bold as I'm willing to go. I don't think we're going to see Ahsoka yet.
I was going to go a little bolder, but I don't think Godzilla plays in the Star Wars.
I don't know. They did have a crate dragon, so
that's true. Oh, yeah, you're right,
dude. They've had the best monsters, man, this season. I will give them that.
The dragon was really good.
Yeah, and the spiders were cool too. It just definitely had the alien feel, but yeah, they were cool. All right, man. Well, I think that's gonna do it. I think we'll wrap it up here. Thank you for joining me on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course, man. Of course, and we'll do it again next week, man.
I love it.
All right, man. I'll talk to you later. Thank you all, by the way, everybody out there watching. Thank you guys for being a part of the show as well and checking it out. Again, don't forget, of course, to subscribe, like, share, all that fun stuff. And I will catch you guys on the main show Friday, 9 a.m. We'll be doing the main Movie Idiot show, so make sure you check that out. And hope you all have a great weekend. And I am out of here. Bye-bye. Peace. See you later.